Hi, I'm Erik Linask, coming to you from the LA Convention Center here in Los Angeles. We're at the 20th edition of IT Expo here, and I'm talking with Declan Byrne, the Chief Marketing Officer at Airspan. Declan, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
It's good to be here.
Let's start off. Just give me a quick update on what Airspan's been up to.
Sure. We're a WiMAX equipment vendor. We're publicly held. Been around for about 16 years, based in Boca Raton, Florida. One of the larger pure-play WiMAX companies, did about $70 million last year, almost exclusively WiMAX. So we sell across the world, but the U.S., even prior to stimulus, has been a pretty important focus for us.
Now, obviously, playing in the WiMAX space, the broadband stimulus package is something that you've certainly got a very vested interest in. First, what are your thoughts on on the stimulus package in general?
Well, God bless President Obama. I think the stimulus package, and particularly for rural consumers, is a watershed event, but also for folks, equipment makers, operators in rural spaces, it's going to be a watershed event. I mean, we have just not seen this amount of capital going into these kinds of markets, which need this kind of capital. So we, as an organization, have sort of, and it's altogether appropriate for us to do this, we've completely reoriented a substantial amount of our sales and marketing efforts to kind of ramp up activities in rural America. It's a space we're very comfortable anyway. I mean, our traditional customer segment in the U.S. has not been Clearwires, the larger operators. It's generally been independent operating companies, rural local exchange carriers, and Butte and Bismarck and these sorts of places. So it's a customer segment we're comfortable with. We happen to have the largest market share in many of the frequency bands. So we expect to do well, to do very, very well. And our customers, I think, will do well as well.
Generally, what's the market reaction been to the stimulus plan?
Sure. It's been pretty overwhelming. I think a lot of, the whole ecosystem that sort of addresses this market, so operators, equipment manufacturers, others, we had hoped that the process, the notice of funds availability process, would be a bit lighter and easier. It was not. It was pretty complicated, fairly heavy. We found that we had to kind of go outside our own comfort zone in some respects to financial analysis companies, RF planners, engineering furnish. You really needed to tackle a good application, I think, with skills that normally aren't resident in a single company. And you need to have an operator that's willing to invest the time with you. Because let's face it, they're going to be going from serving 4,000 lines or 8,000 lines. Some of these guys are thinking big. They're going to go 40, 50,000 lines over the next 2-3 years, which of course is the purpose of the stimulus. Employing a lot of people, putting a lot of money into the economy, and doing a net good, bringing broadband with all of those benefits into rural America. It's been exciting, and it's only round one.
Now, having to go through that sort of due diligence at this stage, won't that actually help in terms of ensuring the quality of the services and the providers that this brings on?
That's a great question, actually. You're absolutely right. I think there's a lot of smaller, there's a lot of operating companies out there that have tacked onto the stimulus as a Hail Mary to sort of save their businesses. It's not clear to me that those guys, that crowd, are going to really assemble the right intellectual capacity and resources to do well. As we all know, there's a certain subset of companies, you can throw any amount of money at them, they just won't succeed for all sorts of reasons. We are fortunate, Airspan is, in that, as I mentioned, our traditional customer base tend to be rural local exchange carriers that have been in a market 70 years, 80 years. They know the markets, they have a lot of political support, they're doing wireline, cable, cellular, WiMAX in many instances. These guys bring a tremendous amount of credibility to an application. They have cash that they can bring to bear, which is an important piece of the application process. So although Airspan, we weren't in 200 applications, I can say that we were in about 25 to 30 that we know about, that we work very closely on. The net total of those, probably about $500 million, of which Airspan equipment is well north of 100 million. And this is in a market that we did $12 million in last year. So there's a certain scenario where you got to worry about, are you going to be the dog that hits the back of the bus here, right? And so we are conscious of that. We're scaling in kind of sales engineering assets to grow, because we anticipate growing significantly.
As a result of the package?
As a result of stimulus, exactly. We have the right products, which is an important point. I'm sorry to interrupt you. We've been investing quite a bit of time, serendipity, over the last couple of years, particularly in 3.65 and 700 megahertz. I think we're the only WiMAX vendor on the planet with a 700 megahertz WiMAX solution. just so happens there's about 110 rural operators with 700 megahertz that are coming together around stimulus, natural organic growth, and we can step in and give them the right products. FCC, RUS certified.
Great. Now, really quickly, how do you anticipate at least this first round playing out?
I don't know. We're all sort of entertaining a lot of navel gazing here. I mean, there were over 2,000 applications, we know, and they were heavily oversubscribed. I guess the data are about $28 billion was requested from an available $4 or $5 billion. I gotta think there's a significant percentage of applications that are going to be materially deficient, or for whatever reason we rejected quickly. I hope that, I mean, if you're sitting at the Rural Utility Service or the NTIA right now and you've got 2,000 applications and you've got about 3 weeks to shortlist them, you've got to bring in some external characteristics and how you whittle down that stack quickly. I'm hoping they look at companies that have been in business a long time, that have positive cash flow, good experience, our kind of customer segment. I think they're on track. They've publicly committed to making awards November 7th, which means they've got a shortlist early October. There's a tremendous desire to get money out into the economy, so I think they're going to hit the numbers.
Good.
We certainly hope so.
Excellent. Look forward to seeing what happens and chatting with you again after that.
Thank you, Eric. Nice to meet you.
We've been chatting here with Airspan Network's Declan Byrne. Declan, thank you, and have a great show.
We will do. Thank you.